Поздравляем с Новым годом.
Да,
Это наш
спасибо.
новогодний выпуск. Поздравляем с победой сегодняшней. У команды достаточно такое напряженное расписание сейчас. Вообще удалось отметить Новый год в этом году?
Ну да, у нас была игра в 12 по-моему, против Бостона. Было время отметить, поэтому все нормально.
Саш, Дима Губерниев назвал Александра Овечкина спортсменом года. А кого ты назовешь спортсменом года?
Даже не знаю. Пати Медведева.
Как относишься к нашумевшему в своем новогоднем видео? Какие мысли по этому поводу?
Мы тоже смотрели.
Да, ну вот, слушайте, вышло из группы, поэтому здесь ничего сделать нельзя. Ничего плохого не было, все нормально.
Расскажи про гол сегодняшний. Как ты... Он очень был похож на тот знаменитый гол, немножечко падение.
Ну, повезло, так несколько было отскоков, вот поэтому вратарь тоже промахнулся мимо шайбы. Повезло.
Как относишься к тому, что сам Грецкий будет следить когда ты приблизишься уже к рекорду?
Давайте приблизимся, потом уже будем говорить.
Хорошо.
Все,
Спасибо большое.
Спасибо.
What do you make of that?
It was a hockey game. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I thought we did a good job of, finding a way to keep the lead. Kind of a crazy game, just like goals back and forth. Like power play was great. Our penalty kill was awesome. It was just one of those games where it feels like everything was going in, good and bad. So just, one of those that you probably just flush and take the 2 points and move on to Buffalo on Monday.
Kind of important to be able to do that though against a team that's looking to stack up wins and is a little bit fragile to be able to take the wind out of their sails so soon after their scoring.
Yeah, I agree. I think the last time we played them here, 5 games into the year, was a really, really tight game. It was like 4-3, like early in the second, I remember, and it stayed 4-3 the whole game. So it was kind of like just a back and forth game, but. I felt like every time, just the goals were just so rapid in succession. So, we found a way to claw out 2 points, and then, like I said, special teams was good, and sometimes you need those games. Middle of the season is game 40, I think, right? Game 39.
Probably not the way that we drew it up, but tons of twists and turns in it, and from a coaching standpoint, I felt like the second period was where we got to work and we got down to business. First period we weren't very good, and I thought we were very fortunate to get out of that at 1-1. Power play scores a huge goal late. LT with some really big saves, so you feel like you sort of get away with one there, and you go in tied. And our guys did a tremendous job of responding to the second period and finding a way to flip that game because it wasn't looking good in that first period. And then I felt like we took over in certainly the first half of the second period, and then build the lead, and then the third period is really squirrely. Like it goes a bunch of weird plays that start to happen, and now the challenge is a huge play, but that was sort of later in the second. Yeah, there's just a lot of different twists and turns in that game that were odd.
How confident were you in that challenge?
So Brett and Emily deserve a ton of credit for that challenge. Like I've always tell them, if you need more angles, I'll use our timeout to buy more time, because they're rushing me in that moment and saying, like, you got to decide. And so they didn't have the angle that they needed, so we needed a little bit more time. So you call the timeout, and you still couldn't see it. Even the frame that we got, you could see his leg, and you thought it was offside. Like you're sure he's offside, but we didn't have the definitive angle. And then once the broadcast and the process is really, I mean, someone could write a small dissertation on the process of this and how it works. And so we're waiting for different angles from the TV crews to give us the one overhead that has, like, it's basically from the score clock, and it has the entire blue line with feet and puck, and that was the shot that we needed, and they gave it to us, and it just showed. Was it Berard?
Yeah.
Was it him?
So it wasn't the one from the glass? It was the one from the score clock?
No, because the blue line cam, the player's in the way. We could see the player, but we couldn't see through that there was a player blocking the actual, like, where the guy's skate was.
Right.
So we needed the overhead, which isn't the overhead which they were showing in the building. That didn't quite show it. It doesn't quite catch that left side.
Right.
But there's a camera on the score clock
Okay.
that has the whole blue line, and that was the one that once they showed that on the broadcast and it came to our feet, we knew right away that it was coming back.
I nominate Bailey to write that story.
It is. It is fascinating. There's so many things that people don't know about what goes on in that and what angles that we have and have access to for another day.
And how about Ovi, the competitor, scoring that big goal after the giveaway, and like a lot of guys, I think he got up to a little bit of a slow start.
Yeah, I thought that was a huge goal given what had happened in their line, and it felt like it was one of those nights for those guys. Like, they did a lot of good things on the power play, Strome, but every time they stepped on the ice, something bad was happening, and it unfortunately sometimes that happens. Even when you have nothing to do with the play, it just seems like. The breakaway is it's a weird situation where our forwards are just sort of looking, and all of a sudden it's a breakaway back to the net minus, and you come back to the bench. And so in those games that they were having, for them to get that face-off goal to get us back up two was big.
What did you like about the way your group shook off Logan's early mistake?
I honestly don't think our guys were rattled at all because they knew what he had done for us on the 6 or 7 or 8 saves that he had made on scoring chances before that. And it's the same way. It was last game, wasn't it? On the power play with Chucky.
Yeah.
Our guys are so good about stuff like that. Like, they don't even. I didn't feel one bit of body language or one comment of a sigh or like, not even close. Not even close. It was next shift. Here we go, and that. That's one of the strengths of our group is when someone falters or someone falls down, like, these guys rally together and pick that person up.
So your blue line has already matched its goal output from last year, and they had 6 assists tonight, which I think put them into second behind Colorado. Just how important have your defensemen been, in kind of helping out your offense?
Huge part of why we've been able to score as much as we have this year. Output wise, Chicky, but even John just goes about it ho hum. No one talks about it, but he's consistently helping us not only off the rush but in the offensive zone, and even guys like, I know Reamer's not a big shooter, but he's making good plays to keep pucks alive. I think he had in the first 20 games he had something like 10 assists or something around there, like Sandy. So we're getting contributions from everybody on our back end in different ways, and Chicky's obviously elevated that in a big way with the goal scoring, but it helps when you're just relying on 12 forwards to score all of your goals. It's tough, and so you can see why if you peel back the onion and say, okay, why have the Washington Capitals scored at a way higher rate than they did last year? That is one of the factors that you would definitely point to.
Yep.
Thank you.